Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
Um, so there are three topics. You just pick one, whichever one interests you the most.
No, you just pick
Uh,
one.
all right, fine. Um, hmm, okay, Destiny.
Okay.
Um, what were your thoughts on what Destiny said about the firefighter guy?
That he deserved to die for going to what is essentially a Hitler rally?
Um, I don't, I don't think he said deserve. I think he said he was indifferent.
Well, I think Destiny is largely indifferent to death and suffering, so I'm not surprised. Or at least claims to be.
Do you hate Destiny?
A little bit. I
Would you
wish I had not
understand?
met I wish I hadn't met him.
Okay. Would you understand why someone that watches Destiny, even if he has done horrible thing. I'm not talking about the firefighter. Actually, let's stay with the fire. I'm scrambled because I'm nervous. Um,
Why don't you just take your time and
all right.
think about what you want to say instead of what you want to try to get me to say.
No, I'm fine with you hating Destiny a little bit. It makes sense. I would understand. So, would you disagree with what he said about the firefighter? Like, are you indifferent? Do you care that the firefighter died?
That's not a disagreement. If you like that it's raining outside and I don't, I'm not disagreeing with you.
What do you mean? I'm just asking if you care.
Well, but you're couching it in the question of do I disagree with destiny? That's not something I can disagree with. Someone else's feelings are their feelings. I can't really disagree with their feeling. I could say maybe they're lying about their feelings or they're not aware of their own feelings, but it's not a disagreement for me to have a different emotional reaction to something.
That's fair. Uh, do you have that different emotional reaction now?
Yes, I have a different emotional reaction to a firefighter being killed by a would be assassin than what Destiny has expressed.
How much do you care? Because I would be indifferent.
You would be or you are?
Well, I am. Yeah.
Um, I, I don't know how to quantify how much I care about that.
Because when I hear that like a random plane crashed and passengers died, uh, even that I'm completely indifferent. Um, but when taking the fact that it's like from Destiny's perspective, and probably maybe from yours, I don't know your views on Trump. Someone
I
that
think Trump.
supports.
I think Trump is essentially Hitler
Okay. So would you care? So why aren't you indifferent that a Hitler supporter died? Why would you care at all?
because they're human beings, and the political views of human beings don't make me care less about them or dismiss their humanity or their importance or value.
I want to say you're lying because I feel like most people don't wouldn't care if a random person died.
Okay, so you think most people, if you said push this button and you get $5, and some random person's gonna get shot in the head, they would push it?
Oh no.
Why not? If they don't care, why not?
Um, because they would
Well,
be
let's say
directly,
a random fly is going to die. How many times would you push the button?
oh, a bunch of times.
Like a million?
Yeah.
Me too.
But
People,
I wouldn't like.
I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't push the button for any amount of money. I think this is a good way to quantify how much you care. Um, I think most people, a random person's going to die for $1 million. I think you'd get to a point where most people are probably going to push it. But for $5, a starving person might push it. But if you truly didn't care, you'd push it. Why not push it 1 billion times? Why not? If it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I care if I'm directly involved in it, like if I'm the one doing it. But if you hear someone dies in like the news, like a house fire or something, like I can't imagine actually being sad. You might be like, "Oh, that sucks," or something like that.
Is all that sucks not an expression of at least some sadness?
Yeah.
Why does it suck if it doesn't matter?
Um. Well, it sucks in that like there's a little bit of care, but not much to where you would say, "I care that that person died."
Yeah. Well, when I hear about people randomly dying, I care a little bit. But this isn't just a random person dying. This is a symbolic and charged event that causes emotional ripples throughout the entire country or in the world. It's not. It's not just. If I heard that same firefighter had a heart attack, I would be less sad. But it's a symbolic moment of division that foretells more death or foreshadows more death and more sadness. And it's a symbolic moment that shows the division that's already there.
So it's not about the firefighters' life themselves because they could have died in another way. It's about
Part of it is that it's sad whenever anybody dies. It's sad when somebody dies who has a family, and it's sad when somebody dies who, by all accounts, is probably a contributes to society in some meaningful way. Firefighters are heroes. That always makes it more sad. But then
uh,
there's also a symbolic aspect where he was assassinated uh, or murdered for participating in politics, which is another good thing that we want people to do. And that the bullet was meant for the former and now current president. So there's a lot of reasons it's sad.
I think we might have to take sad out of the conversation right
But
now
that's what the
because,
conversation's about.
yeah, I know, but everybody has that level of sadness. And I'm talking about like that's the level of sadness where like you're like, "Oh, that sucks." But it's not like you wouldn't say you care. Like you would
Are you
say it's
saying
sad
everybody
that
has that? I thought we were comparing
yeah,
ourselves to
everybody has that.
Does Destiny have that?
Yeah, I think he has that.
You think Destiny said all that sucks to the firefighter dying? I thought he explicitly said he didn't say that. That was the whole thing that everybody
Oh
was
yeah.
upset about.
No, no, no. Yeah. But given that he's a Hitler supporter, you would be less sad. You'd be almost indifferent than if a
Destiny
grandma
wasn't
died in a
less
fire.
sad. He was total. His claim is he's totally indifferent, or that it's funny. So mild to either zero or positive feelings.
Okay. Okay, yeah, let's say he
If you can
probably had
find a
positive
clip of
feelings.
Destiny's, okay, so Destiny has positive feelings about the firefighter dying.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like I like calling it firefighter because they're Nazi firefighters. It's kind of you think Trump's Hitler, so he's also a
okay,
Hitler supporter.
yes.
Um,
Although Trump's supporters don't think he's Hitler, so I don't know. In Hitler's rise to power, I don't know at what point his average supporter was aware of concentration camps. I don't know at what point his supporters were aware of the destruction and murder caused by invading other countries.
Mm.
Like my understanding is that most Nazi supporters probably saw themselves as victims and that Hitler was trying to save them. So my emotional reaction to their death is more based on what they thought that they were doing, not what I think they're doing. But yeah, I think Trump is Hitler, and I think his supporters are Nazis, but mostly unwitting Nazis. I don't think they think that they're Nazis.
I mean, nobody
They're,
like Hitler doesn't think that he's a bad person, I don't think. Or didn't.
True. This is the Christian way, and this is why I don't rejoice when people get shot.
You wouldn't be celebrating Hitler's death? Because that would mean less death in the future, which should be good.
That doesn't mean it's not sad.
You'd be sad if Hitler got killed?
He did get killed, and it is sad.
Now I think you're in the minority.
Maybe I am.
And I also think you're lying. But there's no arguing that.
Well, to me, being raised as a Jew or part Jew with family who died in the Holocaust, my family impressed upon me quite strongly that the people who carried out the murder of 6 million Jews did not think of themselves as murdering anybody. They were mostly normal people. And it was impressed upon me over and over and over again that there are not evil people.
Is anybody an evil person?
No. The idea of there being someone who you can justifiably murder and celebrate their death was stamped out of me because I was taught that when you do that, you are a Nazi. And that is all that it takes to become a Nazi, and that's what a Nazi is. A Nazi is not someone who kills innocent people. A Nazi is somebody who dehumanizes other people and who believes that there are people who deserve to die. That there are people whose deaths should be celebrated, even if it's just one person. The moment you start celebrating Hitler's death, you are a Nazi. That's what I was taught. And that's what I believe.
Okay.
I was taught never to celebrate anybody's death because the moment you start doing that, you're doing exactly the same thing that the Nazis did.
I mean, I agree with you in a little bit.
Were you taught this as a child?
That well, I know that everybody's just a product of their environment and everything.
Were you specifically taught this as a child? Were you taught that you must empathize with Hitler and that if you do not, you are him?
I don't think anybody... No.
Okay, well, I was. So that might account for our difference in philosophies here.
But I feel like we probably agree mostly. It's just you're framing it weirdly.
I'm not framing it weirdly. You're asking me an emotional question. Do I feel sad about Hitler's death? The answer is yes. The reason is that I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know who deserves to live and who dies. I know that I have an unconscious. I know I have incomplete knowledge. And so no matter how sure I am that someone is evil, I know that I can't actually... I'm just as fallible as all those Nazis who were probably decent, intelligent human beings were as they were carrying out a genocide. I know I am just as fallible as they are. And it is that belief in my own fallibility, in my own lack of ultimate judgment, that that I think gives me the wisdom to be sad when my political opponents die, even if they wish that I would die. Because I don't know. I'm not in a position to judge who deserves to die. In the moment I think I am, I've become the very thing that I hate. So of course I would celebrate Hitler's death, but that doesn't mean it's not sad.
Well, I think for most people, the happiness of knowing that so much more harm is dodged because Hitler died would overshadow it so much to where they wouldn't say that they're sad that Hitler died.
Not as much harm as would be dodged if he just resigned or said, actually, we're not doing this anymore. Then I would be just happy. A suicide is a sad thing.
If I knew that Hitler, what Hitler was going to do, and but there was no way for him to actually do it, and he was killed, then yeah, that would be more sad. Even though it, like, intrinsically he's kind of evil.
I don't know. I don't know how evil he is. My understanding is he thought he was doing the right thing.
So okay, bringing this back to Destiny somehow.
There's got to be a way.
Yeah. So Destiny didn't say that he deserved it. I don't think he might have.
We can use whatever hypothetical facts you want. I don't follow closely what Destiny says, and it doesn't matter for the purpose of the conversation.
Okay. So but I assume you talked about this on your stream. I mean, I haven't watched. I'm just making things to talk about, basically.
That
I assume you did.
I talked about what Destiny said about the firefighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, is there another way I could defend Destiny? The pixie stuff. Yeah.
Probably. I'm sure you can come up with something.
No, I don't defend that. But do you think people should stop watching him because of the pixie stuff?
Yes, I think Destiny's internet presence is predicated on the assumption that he's not a liar, and he is. There's no reason to respect him because he's a liar.
What if someone's just watching him for his arguments?
But his arguments are about respect and relationships between men and women. And he doesn't believe the things he says.
That's a part of some of his arguments, but that it doesn't mean that those things are wrong, though. Like, I've gotten useful information from Destiny that I use in my life. Yeah, and it helps me.
I didn't say it does mean that they're wrong. I agree with a lot of his public statements about consent. I just don't think you should watch him for those statements because they're lies. Among other reasons. But for me, it's disqualifying as somebody who's, again, their whole thing is that they're honest, they're giving it to you straight, they're morally consistent, but they're a liar, and they straight up just look you in the eye and say things that aren't true, say that they believe things that they clearly don't. Now, if you're saying you're just watching him to get rhetorical training or rhetorical tricks, I don't think that's a good reason to watch somebody.
Well, not just like rhetoric, but substance, like arguments and stuff.
Um, I don't think it's a great idea to get substance from somebody who doesn't believe what they're saying and is often saying it um, to mislead people into thinking that they care about these things so that they can fucking sexually abuse or betray them. I mean, I don't know what about that. If you just like seriously, if you'd never heard of Destiny and somebody described that to you, you'd be like, I want to get my substance from that person. It
Uh,
seems more like this is like sunk cost. Like you already have a connection that you feel to Destiny and his content, and you're trying to wrestle with how to incorporate um, the bad facts about Destiny that are coming out. But
uh,
would you choose that if you could choose any person to be a fan of or invested in or a community to be part of? Would you choose somebody who contradicts, who's essentially a hypocrite and a liar?
uh, we could argue about this one facet of relationships and all the stuff that he talks about with that, but what about all of his other stuff? Like the Trump stuff and everything else.
Um, okay, so you're saying Destiny lies about his personal life and the way he treats people around him. But his opinions about Trump are still valuable.
Yeah.
And that makes up some significant portion of his content.
Yeah.
I don't think Destiny cares about other people. I don't think he really cares what happens to this country and beyond how it affects him. So, someone who's almost by definition apolitical, because politics is not just you advocating for yourself, it's you advocating for what you think is best. But I don't think he has an opinion about what's best or cares. Yeah, I don't think he even pretends to care. So without an emotional investment or uh, underpinning your opinions, then what are the opinions even about? If it doesn't matter if strangers die or strangers are tortured or imprisoned or expelled, then what are the opinions even about? Just logical consistency?
Well, I'm just saying if you're separating Destiny completely and you're only taking the merits of the argument itself, like just viewing him as a nameless pundit,
But
he's valuable in that sense.
I don't think that's why you're watching him. I think that there are political commentators who are extremely well educated in current events and history, who are extremely focused, sharp, and articulate, who actually have relationships with senators and presidents and other huge pundits, who are pumping out a good amount of very, very, very intelligent political commentary with really great arguments. either historically based or legally based, that I don't think Destiny can touch. I don't think that's why you're watching him. I think you're watching him because you just like it and it feels good.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. Like he's
I think it's a
entertaining.
I think it's a big part of it. I think if somebody asked you, I want to become as educated as possible about the ins and outs of January 6th, the investigation, the court cases, the political implications, the legal implications. What should I spend the next week doing? I, I think you'd be hard pressed to say, well, you should watch Destiny for a week, and then you'll know everything. There's clearly probably a book they should read, or a series of columns and articles. It would probably not be in off the cuff interview or off the cuff streaming format. It probably wouldn't even be an interview or documentary format. Like the most efficient way to get the sharpest, most researched commentary would be probably to read. And it wouldn't be Destiny's writing that you would read.
Yeah, I agree, but I can make the same argument about you. Like, it's definitely true that there are going to be people that are smarter and know a lot more stuff, but
I don't
they're going
understand
to.
how you turn this argument to be about me.
Well, listen. I'm just. There's
I think
always going to
you're
be.
losing track of what you're saying. You're saying, yeah, but I can still watch Destiny because he provides such great arguments about political issues.
Yeah, it's another thing too, though.
If I use my platform to manipulate either fans or smaller content creators into either having sex with me and then I secretly record it and distribute the recordings, or to have sex with me and let me record it and then I secretly distribute the recordings, you shouldn't watch my content.
I don't agree with that.
I know you don't, but you said you can turn it around to me. If I do the things that
Well,
Destiny's done,
you didn't let me finish.
you weren't going to finish. You started changing the subject.
No, no. I wasn't changing at all. I was making an analogy. It's going to be. I'm just listening.
Then okay, then explain how you could turn this around and say
I'm
you
not.
could
It's
say
not a
that
shot. It's not a shot at you.
it
I'm
doesn't matter
saying.
if it's a shot at me. I'm saying you're
What
changing
is?
I'm not saying
I'm
that
not.
I'm not saying that you're taking a shot at me. I'm saying you're changing the subject. I don't believe that you were about to flesh out I could say the same thing about you. That's what you said. I would like you to flesh it out now. What does that mean?
All right. I'm gonna flesh it out.
Okay.
All right. So you have a particular niche on the internet. Destiny has a particular niche on the internet.
Both true.
There's all. Yeah. You have information that's valuable. Destiny has information that's valuable.
I don't think the information is valuable in and of itself, because as you pointed out, the way I put out the information is not the best way to consume the information. So the information's valuable, but also people watch me because it feels good and it's an artistic emotional engagement with me. It's not just to get the information. The information's
Yes.
the only part of it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was going to say about Destiny. I was going to say that exact thing about Destiny, that people
Yeah,
that watch Destiny. Yeah.
I think we're in agreement about that. So therefore, the information you get from Destiny is not a justification to keep watching him when it turns out he's a sexual predator.
Well, it's both. It's the
I don't think it
entertainment too.
I don't I think it's mostly entertainment, and I think most of the entertainment comes from vicariously identifying with him.
I don't agree with that. Why would you say that? There are other ways that you could watch Destiny's content without vicariously identifying with him. It's entertaining and it's informative. Same with you.
Do you think okay, so my sense that most of Destiny's fans, especially the diehard fans, identify with him in some way, that doesn't you don't have that sense?
Uh, I'm not like, I wouldn't, it's possible. Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
probably
asking if it's
true.
possible. I'm asking if you think it's true.
People that would identify as DGGers, yeah, they probably vicariously identify with him.
Okay, so
nonsense.
that's just why I said that, because I also think that is true.
All right. Yeah, we agree on that.
Okay, so I watch this person who's a sexual predator because I vicariously live through them and enjoy identifying with them. I don't think it's a great idea. Again, you're asking
Well,
for my judgmental opinion. Do I think you should do that? It doesn't sound like a good idea. No.
well,
That
then you
sounds
could
like
just
that would
say,
increase sociopathic tendencies in the audience and make a bunch of little mini predators. That doesn't sound good.
well, then you could just say take the vicariously identifying part out of it, because it's probably not good to vicariously identify with any streamer.
I don't think that it not being good to vicariously identify with any streamer is a rebuttal to the argument that it's not good that Destiny's fans watch him because they enjoy vicariously identifying with him and he's a sexual predator. It sounds like you're making a counter argument, but you're actually not. You're just bringing up a new thing that's not related.
Wait, how is that not related?
You tell me if this
I'm
logically follows.
confused.
Why shouldn't I watch Destiny? You shouldn't watch Destiny because you vicariously identify through him and he's a sexual predator. Or vicariously identify with him and he's a sexual predator. And then you say, yeah, but it's probably not a good idea to vicariously identify with any streamer. It sounds like it's a response, but it actually is a totally nonsensical thing to say. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Do you have to watch a streamer? Is it that you have to have some streamer you watch all the time, and so now I have to choose between Destiny and Asmongold? No, that's a fake argument. That's not real. I was just telling you to read like researched opinion or researched political analysis. Why are we bringing up other streamers?
Um,
But then you're saying that so do you have to vicariously identify with somebody? Who should it be? Well, it might as well be a sexual predator because other streamers are bad too.
no, no, no. I
That
agree.
doesn't
I
make
was
any
gonna,
sense.
yeah, I agree. I was gonna say like there are some people that uh, are way worse to vicariously identify with, but
So
you're only attacking vicariously identifying. You're not attacking the reason why I would watch Destiny.
I'm not attacking that. I'm attacking vicariously identifying with a sexual predator.
Yeah, I agree with
When you
that
listen to someone speak for hours on end, you're going to become more like them. I don't
in
think
every
people.
way. I don't know if in like sexual, maybe in terms of how you talk or stuff like that, but
Yeah, I think your values will also become more like their values. Like when you started this conversation, you're like, I don't care if people die.
yeah, but I you agreed that everybody has the same kind of feeling, not that particular phrasing.
No, I don't. I don't think. I don't have every caller call in and brag that they don't care if people die. I think
Why?
Only Destiny fans do that. Most people are embarrassed to say that they don't care if somebody dies. Destiny fans are proud because Destiny brags about it, and they become more like him.
He didn't wish death upon the person. He just says he's indifferent. But yeah, he was
I didn't say he wished death.
laughing about it.
That's a straw man. Bragging about laughing about somebody dying is usually seen as an antisocial, uh, mentally ill thing to do. In Destiny's community, it's cool because your values have been warped to be more like him because you listen to him a lot and then you spend a lot of time talking with people who listen to him a lot. So then it sounds like a cool thing to say. I mean, like you know that this is how when people are fans of somebody, they think that person's cool and they start to be like him and start acting like they are cool in the ways that that person's cool.
But you said you were in the minority of saying that it's sad that Hitler died. And when we're talking about the firefighter, the Hitler supporter, most people wouldn't say that they're sad that that person died. They'd be indifferent, or they'd probably be happy.
You're blending a lot of things together to stretch reality to make it sound like what Destiny has said is normal. You're saying in one sentence, as though these are all the same thing, actively stating that you are sad that a political opponent died, actively stating that you're sad that somebody who supports someone you think is Hitler, but they probably don't think is Hitler, died. Um, Being sad inside, being indifferent to that person, and actually being sad that Hitler died and going around telling people you're sad Hitler died. This is a huge spectrum of human behavior that you're trying to crush all into one little sliver, and then to say, well, Destiny's in that sliver and so is everybody else. But the fact is, it is actually rare and unusual behavior to go around bragging that you amused by the death of a political opponent. And that's why he got so much backlash, because it's bizarre behavior. And that's why you're calling and asking me about it, because you know it's bizarre and unusual behavior, and you're mimicking it.
Well, it's only bizarre and unusual because most people don't view Trump as Hitler. But if everybody viewed Trump as Hitler,
I think there's plenty of left-leaning content creators who do view Trump as Hitler, myself being one of them, who are not bragging that they are amused by the death of an innocent person.
But you would be in the minority, because if it was during like right after World War II ended, most people would be bragging or happy.
Again, the firefighter is not Hitler.
Yeah, but in Destiny's mind, he's a Hitler supporter, and in your mind.
Yes, most people would not be celebrating a Hitler supporter who, a non-combatant firefighter, attended one of his rallies getting shot in the head or chest or wherever he was shot. Most people would not be gleefully bragging that they are happy about that. That is unusual, antisocial, psychopathic behavior. That's why he got so much backlash about it, because it makes him seem insane.
So if a Hitler rally was bombed, you think people would be sad and wouldn't be happy if a Hitler rally was bombed?
Again, you're trying to crush a big range of facts and emotions into a small thing. A rally being bombed, and the rally is of an enemy. I assume this is after Hitler has already invaded Poland and started a war, and Americans are dying by the boatload trying to stop him. If a Hitler rally got bombed, yes, I think people might be happy about that. That's different from the situation that we're talking about. I don't know how to get around this. Destiny's behavior about this has been unusual. Do you not concede that? Like, his statements are unusual. That's why they've gotten backlash, because people are reacting badly to him saying things that aren't normal to say.
Yeah, they're not normal, but that's only because most people don't view him as Hitler.
I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people do view Trump as Hitler.
Okay, so so then if he actually was Hitler, it was a Hitler rally, I don't understand how people would say that they're sad about that.
Again, it's not that Destiny didn't say he was sad. Lots of people have not said they're sad. Lots of people hate Trump. They hate Trump supporters, and they will not go out and condemn violence against Trump. They make memes about his ear getting shot. They say that his ear wasn't really shot. They don't care about the firefighter dying. They are not saying that this was a sad thing. They're saying basically the equivalent of fuck around and find out. This is different from Destiny's reaction, which has been to express glee. So while I agree that we're in a sad state of affairs where there are more people who will just not say anything and not condemn political violence and say, whatever, fuck him. That's not what Destiny has done. Destiny went out of his way to mock the firefighter, intentionally provoke Trump supporters and conservatives, say that it's funny that he died. That is psychopathic. That's a psychopathic stance inherently, to laugh at somebody for getting shot. And then you keep defending it by saying, oh, well, so everybody's supposed to get out their violins and be all emotional like you? No, I also have an unusual reaction. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Destiny's behavior around this has been unusual, and you seem like you both want to defend it as unusual, defend it as like it's not unusual, he's just more honest, or his opinion of Trump is lower and that's why he's doing it. I don't think that is why he's behaving this way. Destiny has mocked a lot of Destiny makes fun of people getting sexually assaulted.
So
Like
I guess we could
the
agree.
stealthing stuff. Is he doing that because he has some other secondary opinion that is making him do that? Destiny mocks people where bad things happen to them all the time. What about Kyle Rittenhouse, the people he killed? He called them dipshit protesters and
We
called
could
for
agree that
more. Like,
it's unusual.
okay,
Are
great.
you saying it's bad too?
I'm responding to the argument that I'm following up my argument from earlier where I said people vicariously identifying with Destiny makes them act more like him. And I gave your own statements in this call as an example. You are essentially bragging about the deaths that you don't care about. And I believe that you picked this up from watching Destiny. But if you look at like the rest of the world, it's not, or at least the United States, that's not really normal behavior.
Yeah, but is it wrong? Like, would you consider
Yes.
me a? Okay, so
It's yes, it's
that's
wrong to say you don't care when people die.
that's such a different way of saying it, because I do care that people
Or
die.
that you are that you're happy that people died.
Um,
Yes, that's wrong. That's like the
um,
definition of wrong. If that's not wrong, then like what is?
so people are wrong if they're happy Hitler died. Like, you can't make these broad strokes.
I think it is wrong to publicly express glee, especially when you have a sizable platform, about the death of someone who was just sitting at a Trump rally. Yes.
An innocent firefighter. Even saying firefighter is automatically loading it.
He was a firefighter.
No, I'm aware that he's a
So
firefighter,
what do you mean it's
but if
loading it?
it's loading, I could just say a MAGA supporter, and it would be completely different.
Yeah, if you dehumanize somebody,
But
it's easier to celebrate their death.
yeah, but you see how one has like a completely, uh, even more innocent than the average person, like up good. Like, have you looked at? Do you know what he supports and what he believes? Because I'm pretty sure on his Twitter profile he supports a lot of terrible stuff.
Oh, well then
So
I'll express glee about him getting shot then.
you don't have to. You could at
I'm
least be
saying it's
indifferent.
wrong. There's nothing he can tweet out that will make me glad that he died, or and especially make me tell people I'm glad that he died, as though this is a good quality in me. You are treating antisocial, psychopathic, sadistic behavior as though it's morally good.
But
Isn't
you
this the
wouldn't
exact thing that you don't like about Trump? This is what I don't like about Trump. Destiny is
you
exactly like Trump.
you wouldn't you wouldn't do that, even if like a person that shot up a school uh, got killed. You wouldn't do, but most people would. So it's it's
So,
okay
yes, I'm better than
sometimes.
most people. What do you want me to say? Yes, I think I have a stronger moral compass than most people. I don't become dysregulated by my emotions about something somebody did and lose my humanity and start going around gloating that I'm glad that they died.
Okay, so it's not unusual and psychopathic that someone can be happy that someone died.
No, that in itself is not unusual and psychopathic.
Okay.
What's unusual and psychopathic is using your public platform to go around gloating that you are glad somebody died. Not just gloating that they died, but gloating about the fact that you're gloating. And when the person who died was somebody who's just sitting at a fucking rally, who could have been one of 80 million people who support this guy, or more. Those are just the voters. 100 million people. That they could all die and it would just be funny. That's psychopathic. Like, definitionally, that's psychopathic. And the fact that we're arguing about this shows that it has rubbed off on you.
Wouldn't that just depend on how he thinks about um, the supporters themselves?
Destiny
Because
is
in
like that with everyone.
what do you mean?
Destiny has never expressed sorrow or sadness about any the death or torture or punishment of anyone that I know of. I don't
Well,
think
it,
he does
in
that.
this in this isolated instance, it depends on what the person thinks about these people.
If it's not an isolated incident because we know that Destiny has a pattern of mocking people who are victims.
I can't I can't argue for that because I don't really know that. I mean, I'm only talking about this particular instance, and it has to
Okay,
depend. It
we'll
ha-
only talk about this particular instance. Destiny's opinion of this guy is so low that his behavior around it is seen as psychopathic, not because of his lack of empathy and his apparent sadistic glee at pouring salt in this wound, but it's because he just has a different perception of who Trump is and therefore who his supporters are.
yes, I mean, you have the same perception. You would just react differently, and if everybody had the same perception that you and Destiny had, most people would probably agree with Destiny's react in a similar way that Destiny did, and not how you react.
And my sense that Destiny enjoys telling people that he's glad the firefighter died and watching them freak out is, you don't share that?
Sure, what? Wait,
My view?
that it's psychopathic?
Destiny seems to enjoy telling people, especially conservatives, that he's glad this firefighter died and watching their reactions because they freak out. Do you share that view?
Uh, I don't particularly do that, but I don't think there would be anything that bad about it.
I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you agree with the following statement? Destiny seems to enjoy telling conservatives that he's glad the firefighter died, or that it's funny. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes. Yes, I think that happens.
Do you agree that what he enjoys is their distress?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I'm characterizing his response as psychopathic and not just indifferent. He's not just unempathetic. He is actually enjoying that people are upset. That people are supporters of Trump and supporters of his followers, especially if they're firefighters, that a guy sitting with his family is murdered in front of his family. Destiny likes pouring salt on that wound because it's fun.
Yeah, but that's not psychopathic. It depends on the person, who the
No,
person is. Yes, it
it
does. If it was a pedophile, I don't know why I brought up pedophile, but if it was like a murderer or a pedophile that died, and then
in
you go
who
to
was shot in front of his family.
yeah, but he raped a kid or something. Well, we don't even have to put that. He supports pedophilia, and you go to a pedophilia subreddit and you start bragging that this person died to see their reactions. I don't think that would be psychopathic.
It is psychopathic. It's less psychopathic than what's happening, but than what Destiny did, but it is still psychopathic. Again, anytime you convince yourself that there's someone it's okay to torture, and then you go torture those people for fun, you are being psychopathic and sadistic. That's not normal behavior.
I don't think you call someone psychopath if they're trolling um,
Yeah,
really
you
bad
can.
people.
You can
Okay,
call
so
them
if I
psychopathic.
because I think everyone has done something similar to this where they troll, maybe not with a death,
I've
but
never done
you
anything
could.
like that.
Would you think a person's bad if they troll not neo-Nazis by saying, "Yeah, I'm glad Hitler died"? They're psychopathic because they want to get the reaction.
I don't think that's a great analogy. I think it's slightly sadistic, slightly psychopathic.
They're doing exactly what you said Destiny was doing.
No, Hitler carried out a genocide and started a war that resulted in like 60 million people dying. This Trump supporter was a firefighter sitting with his family who was murdered in front of his family. So trolling not neo-Nazis about Hitler's death, which occurred 80 years ago, and trolling Trump supporters about the firefighter's death hours or days after it happened are not the same thing. They're completely different.
Okay, so then why at the very, like, a
Dude,
minute ago?
the fact that you're making such horrible arguments shows that deep down you know that Destiny's behavior is odd, or you wouldn't need to tie yourself in pretzels to try to justify it. You wouldn't need to make an insane argument if you actually supported what he's doing. You know that it's wrong.
I don't think it's wrong.
Then why do you need to compare it to trolling neo-Nazis about Hitler? Why don't you have other examples of other prominent, well-respected people but the time Barack Obama made fun of terrorists getting raped at Guantanamo Bay? Remember that? Why can't
Because
he?
you,
Because he wouldn't do that because it's fucking insane. So you
you
have to
make
come up with
these
this like
you make these broad statements that, like, if you make fun of someone's death just to get a reaction, a negative, distressful reaction out of them, that means you're a psychopath. That's the only thing I was.
I didn't make that statement. I said that the behavior of getting sadistic pleasure from mocking someone's death and trolling people about it is itself definitionally psychopathic. And the more unusual that behavior is, the more psychopathic it is. And what you're
Uh,
trying to do by essentially equating a firefighter sitting at a Trump rally to Hitler himself is trying to rationalize Destiny's behavior as more normal than it actually is.
I'm not equating though. I'm just making
In your analogy, you did equate them. You said, yeah, but what if so therefore you're saying if I trolled neo-Nazis about Hitler's death then I'm crazy? No, that's a more normal thing to do. What Destiny
that
did is not like that. What Destiny did is crazy.
that's because
That's
you're adding stuff now. You're saying now it has to be unusual, which I don't understand why that would matter, just how
because if
rare
everybody
it
does something,
is.
you can't call it psychopathic. What I'm saying about Destiny's behavior is that it's unusual. That you're not watching somebody who reacts to things like a normal person. You're watching somebody who reacts to things in a way that fewer than 1% of the population reacts to things. It's not just that he's indifferent or apathetic to a political opponent dying. It's that he is filled with sadistic glee and then further enhances his sadistic glee by rubbing it in the face of people who are freaking out about it and enjoying them freaking out. That's psychopathic and unusual.
Even if the perception was the same among everybody. It's not the values that are psychopathic. It's only the perception that you're isolating.
I don't think this breakdown really adds to an analysis of whether Destiny's behavior is unusual. I don't think his view that Trump is Hitler is unusual, and I don't think his reaction to the situation is very unusual. So Destiny does not have a unique perspective about Trump. It is one that is widely shared by many, including myself.
Well, that might depend on the degree, but it was nice talking to you.
Thanks for calling.